This is Michael Kaplan from the American Guitar Academy, TAGA, and we're here backstage at the Cotton Club Tokyo with Julian Lage. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. He's going to go on in a little while, so we'll get this done. I'd like to do the biographical stuff rather quickly. Get to the guitar stuff, because mostly guitarists will be watching this.
Cool.
You're from where?
Originally from Santa Rosa, California.
Okay. And started playing from what the internet has taught me.
Yeah.
You started playing at a young age because of your father.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you guys started playing together, is that correct?
More or less, yeah. He started taking lessons and I wanted to do it with him. And so he became my teacher, and as I progressed, we got, it just got kind of deeper and deeper as far as what we explored and who I would take lessons from, and but he's always been kind of like a coach in a way.
Was it? I mean, I assume at that young age, what we talking, 5, 6 years old?
Yes, I would have been 5.
It wasn't jazz. I'm assuming.
Well, it was blues, but it was kind of quickly jazz via T-Bone Walker and like older blues. I think maybe it has a blurrier line between where it switches over. So I kind of got into jazz more or less by accident because I wanted to get better, and I think it's natural to be directed towards jazz because theory, scales, technique, whatever. So I kind of just tumbled into being a pursuit of jazz.
So it was never Hal Leonard Book 1 or any of that stuff. It was like,
although I respect that, it was a little, it was very natural.
How did you learn that? Because you've been doing this professionally for a long time, since what 10 years old?
Long time, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you end up? I know it's probably a vague, abstract question, but how do you end up? You start to play, and there's a lot of things that go into becoming a professional musician.
Right.
The reading,
right.
The theory, the all that stuff. How did that? Was that like a natural path that unfolded for you, or?
It was. I think out of necessity. I felt like in order to move forward without resistance, it'd be my best interest to get all of the things that were mechanistic kind of dealt with. In other words, like anything that could prove to be challenging, I wanted to just face it
and just get it.
Yeah, and just learn it. What's the hardest thing? What's the craziest thing I'm going to encounter as far as sight reading? And obviously it's all in abstraction because you don't know until you experience it.
You don't know until you're
until you're in it. But it was always with the minds. Don't let that be a thing that stops you from connecting with a musician that you admire.
Right. Was there I'm sure there's been a bunch, whether it's Jim Hall or Hendrix or Wes. I mean, was there somebody back then that still remains today?
Jim.
Yeah. Everybody says Jim. Let's Jim, I guess. Everybody. And I know you became somewhat friendly with Jim. I read some story Jim would call you and say funny stuff.
He would. He'd call me out of the blue. He had the greatest sense of humor.
He's a good guy.
He's the best. The best.
Was it always, I'm going to be a musician?
I suppose.
You never thought about it, really?
I don't know if it was as definitive, even to this day, I don't think it's the way I thought about it, kind of just throwing it against the wall, seeing what sticks always.
Yeah.
And so, and I feel very lucky that the community that I share with other musicians includes a lot of people who are so focused and so good at what they do.
Of course.
So I look at them and I go, wow, that's pretty cool. I too want to do that, but it's not incredibly defiant.
Well, it helps if you're in that environment.
Yeah,
especially from a young age. If you surround yourself with that environment and that's what you grow up seeing people do.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I didn't know we were practicing. We just came home from school, we played guitar.
Precisely.
Was there rock involved in any rock stuff?
Really, I somehow managed to miss out on a lot of rock. Yeah, I don't. It was jazz, blues, classical guitar, and maybe more avant-garde players or soundscape people, but rock and roll.
Just kind of.
I just didn't. It wasn't what I was exposed to. I guess. Yeah. Now probably more. I'm more aware.
Now you're okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to school? Did you go to like a Berkeley or some?
I did. I went to Berkeley.
Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. You took the whole time, 4 years. You graduated.
My program was 2.5,
okay.
But I graduated. Yeah.
Is that you left Berkeley to play with? Did you play with Gary?
I did, but I played with Gary when I was 12. So that was all before I went to college.
All right, well that's a good.
And through college and then after college.
Yeah.
But I did a program that was essentially like a master's program for an undergrad.
Okay.
That's what you call an artist diploma.
Yeah.
And so I did that at Berkeley.
What year was that?
Do you remember? 2006 to 2008. Yeah, right in that range. 2008 to 2009.
And it was a good experience.
Great.
Yeah. That's I'd like to talk a little bit about your, I don't know, I guess approach to the instrument might be the wrong way to say it.
Yeah.
You know, what's your, obviously you write your own stuff, you play standards, I mean now you're doing the, what do we call it, I can't even really put a label on it. Because you made somewhere along the lines, I guess the last album or two, how many?
This what you're referring to is to electric? Is that what you're
saying? No, with the telly.
With the Telecaster,
yeah,
that's been the most recent record.
Okay. Because as far as and I could be wrong, but as far as I've been aware, for most of your career, you've been playing straight ahead. Bebop, traditional type stuff.
More or less.
Yeah. And then now you made this switch, or this, to
right.
playing a telly instead of an arch top. You're playing I think the Linda's guitar, right?
Yeah, well, Linda Man's guitar.
And what do we? I hate to put a label on it, but what do we call him?
What
are the journalists calling it? I guess.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea what they call it, but it's jazz. It's just jazz guitar
with more bluegrassy pop influence. I mean,
if you look at any early jazz guitar, the division was a lot blurred. I mean, early people like Teddy Bunn or George Barnes. Or even Charlie Christian.
Right.
There wasn't a thing of bebop. I mean, there was a lot of, we're talking about jazz guitar players who started as banjo players.
Right.
So I think
Dixieland guys.
Yeah. So the Telecaster and whatnot it's not necessarily a revelation. It's more in line with an earlier American.
Right.
Even someone like Jimmy Bryant or Hank Garland. I mean, these were guys who. There's a lot. In a weird way, I almost think there's more examples of that style of playing than the great hollow body players, which you can often, when we think of the greats, it kind of gets whittled down to a small selection
of guys that were well known.
But frankly, like I was saying before, for me it's nothing new. Because I got into jazz after I was a blues guitar player, so it was more like I stumbled into being known for traditional jazz guitar. But I was coming
But you were
from,
right.
Muddy Waters a lot more. So I guess it came to a point where I had the opportunity to contextualize what I'd always wanted to do.
Well, that's.
I'd been a sideman in a certain capacity that I loved. I also had a chamber ensemble that was more compositionally driven, and then I thought, well, let me just play the guitar the way I wanted.
And this wasn't a conscious, I'm going to do something different. It's just
you're
just being yourself. Doing all right. Well, that's fantastic that you're fortunate enough to be able to do it. I mean, that's. How do you when you were younger, did you practice a lot? Can you recall just 8, 10, 12 hours a day playing guitar?
Yeah, it was a lot of. That's how I played practice for many years.
And it was out of passion.
Yeah, just curiosity.
I just wanted to figure this thing out.
Yeah, it takes time. But it doesn't necessarily need to feel
laborious.
Yeah, exactly. So it just took that long to figure something out, and I was pretty devoted in an obsessive way for years to that.
Would you, kind of a strange question, I guess, but would you say, because I guess people use the term child prodigy, and they say about people who are young, like yourself, who were young, or still young, and just start, like Borelli LeGrand, and all these guys that started out and they've just been known for guitar their whole life.
Yeah.
would you say that there's a certain amount of innate talent that goes along with the tremendous amount of practicing? Or is it, well, kind of anybody can do this if you devote 12 hours a day?
Oh, well, I don't know. You know, I have no idea. And it would be
speculative, I guess, to even
speculative. Even try to say. I mean, I haven't got much to say about talent. I think that, like anything, people have propensities for certain types of work ethic. You know, if there's
work ethic
is
far different from right? I mean,
that's true.
Because we're talking discipline.
Yeah, we're talking discipline, but it's the whole idea of anybody being a prodigy. I think it's just more about the person saying it than the person it's about. I always felt that, like, I guess if I, as an adult, when I see young people playing, I think, wow, it's amazing. They're young. How could they do it? When you're young, you don't think how amazing that I'm doing this. So it's
you don't realize it.
You don't realize it, but I think they're two different realities that are parallel. I don't think one's correct.
Right.
You know, I think, but early on, I always took any labels like that as being a really fascinating peek inside the brain of that person.
Of them, not of you.
Yeah, but I don't think it wasn't my job to necessarily agree or reconcile my experience with that.
Nor do you probably at 7, 8, 12 years old even ever give a thought to how good or not good you might be. You're just doing it, you love doing it, and that's why I did it. I was just playing guitar, and I really didn't care how good I was, because I just loved to play guitar, and we played.
Exactly, that's all you got.
Yeah, so right, that's all we had. So, that's all. What's your? Okay, now you're an adult, as you said, and you have this career. You're blessed to have this career of playing and touring the world. Do you still practice a lot?
As much as I can.
You still pull it out every day and play for sure?
If I can, you know, the work that we're involved with currently is you know, involves a lot of logistics and travel and things. So for
jet lag.
Yeah, which is part of it. But and at the same time, it's always very project specific. So for example, for this tour, I was, you know, happy to have like a couple days to practice electric and focus and recalibrate.
Sure.
And then after the first show, the next day you rehearse with the band to tweak it, and then after the second show you do that again the next day. And then God willing, when this is all done, and tonight's our last night here, I switch into a totally different mode.
Different project.
Different project, different acoustic. It's all acoustic, it's more bluegrass, so it's less practicing for practicing's sake and more pointed, which I actually prefer.
More I'm practicing for this gig.
I need to, there's a deadline, and it's very healthy, I think, you know.
Well, it enables you to certainly keep your chops up in different styles or different, you know.
Other people count on it, you know, and yourself, which is important.
When you're playing with, absolutely. What you've played with? You know, I'm not going to start listing all the people you've played with. We probably could, but who haven't you played with that
I'd like to play?
Yeah, is there someone that stands out?
God,
I don't know.
I'm sure there are.
There's got to be somebody that you just wish you could have or could still to this day play with.
I wish I'd played with Steve Lacy.
Really?
Steve Lacy, the saxophone player. I wish I'd played with him. I saw him give a clinic when I was young, and I was so knocked out, but I never had the chance to. I wish I could have played with Jimmy Jufrey.
Did you ever play a record?
No, but I met him as a kid, and I was always a huge fan. And then of current people, I'm sure there are, and I can't think of anybody.
Long career ahead of you.
Well,
you still got a lot of time left.
One day at a time. One day at a time.
What? All right. So I guess I don't want to say your main setup because you're doing so many different projects.
There's a couple.
But the Linda's guitar. You're just pretty much going straight into an amp, or you have nothing.
Yeah, just into an amp.
What kind of? Is there a preference for amp-wise?
Any small tube amp with.
Okay. But tube
reverb or not. Yeah, or I don't really care for that. That guitar kind of sounds, in my opinion, kind of good whatever you plug it into, or it sounds more or less balanced frequency-wise. It doesn't feedback. It doesn't.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you avoid the feedback?
It's a laminate. It's like a 175. You know, in that sense. It's a little more advanced as far as how they laminate, but no, that guitar is just it's great and it sounds good. It sounds like itself all the time, and I don't, with the exception of occasions such as being here in Tokyo, where we use a rental amp, where I'll sometimes bring a reverb pedal.
Using a twin or something.
It's a deluxe, but it's the same thing, and it's like, or I'll use an overdrive pedal to push it. Otherwise, I'm not someone who knows how to use pedals well. So But I usually travel with my own amplifier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is an old.
Not internationally.
Sometimes.
You drive, yeah?
Yeah, sometimes I have a flight case for it. It's
and
a
what
small
is it?
It's an old champ. It's just a 1960s.
A Fender champ.
Really? Tweed champ. One knob, on or off.
That's it.
That's it.
No,
it's great. It's about 3.5 watts and no.
Doesn't distort? Nothing.
It does. At a certain point, that's why I like it. But you have to kind of play with that threshold depending on how much compression you want.
And they're micing it up anyway.
They're micing it. It's no problem being heard. But I think just a Telecaster and a champ is kind of my favorite.
And tonight you're using the telly that you have?
I'll use my main telly, which I have. I play an old one too, a 1954 telly that I love. But this new guitar is by a guy named Nacho.
Yeah, you were talking.
He in Spain, and so I feel like that's
and not
my
much,
preferred telly.
Not much effects, just pretty much straight in.
Straight in.
That's great. It's a lot easier doing it that way.
It's easier. Well,
you just, you got too much stuff going on down there and too many knobs. And
you're
better off focusing on just playing and
I
getting in that zone. And,
yeah, do your best. Do your best.
Yeah, that's what advice, if you feel okay giving some, could you give to the music industry? Is significantly different now than it was 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
20, 50, whatever, especially with the internet.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you could give to people that might be watching this, guitarists or budding guitarists that want to have a career in music? Is there anything you could tell them that might motivate them or keep the fire lit under them?
Yeah, of course. Well, the best answer I can give is I don't know. And I don't think anyone does. And I think the sooner you appreciate that it's a period of great experimentation. I think the sooner you'll have a chance of kind of progressing and realizing that it's not a matter of you being bad at this or being uninformed. It's that it is a time of transition. Secondarily, I would say one factor that I think I've come to appreciate more and more is that there's always kind of two branches. There's the branch of playing guitar, being skilled, being exceptional in the way that you deem important, and everyone has a different set of standards. And then there's also the social application of the music, integration. I mean, music functions for us as we love doing. We get to play, we work on it, but it also can be. We can come to Tokyo and we're playing in a club where people buy dinner and they go out on a date or they go with their friends, and our music is on a continuum of being the main reason they're there. Maybe it's the sole reason they came, maybe they have no idea, they just happen to like jazz. But whatever it is, I think it is your job as a musician to appreciate that at some point in your process you will integrate into someone else's world. And you could be someone that they love, you could be someone who they don't even know exists, but they like the sound of your guitar playing. But the sooner you realize that that's part of it, I think you can start to do your best to steer the ship towards your preference. You might be someone who says, I only play solo guitar recitals, because that's how I want my music to be heard, and you can pursue it. It'll take out a lot of options. Suddenly you don't have to be worrying about competing with people playing stadiums, because you say, well, solo guitar, fine. Or you say, I want to be a person playing stadiums. So you say, well, what kind of music would I have to play? Yeah, where's that music made and who makes it? And so I would encourage people to think about that.
And it's interesting that you said the social aspect of it. And I think worth mentioning is the social aspect of not only the audience, but the social aspect of playing with the two guys you're playing with.
It's very true.
Tonight, for example.
Yeah, for example, that's
where,
huge.
That becomes, for those moments, those hours, whatever it is, that becomes your...
That's all you got.
Yeah, I mean, there is a tremendous, unless you're playing solo guitar for a living.
Yeah.
Playing music is a very social thing, and I know I've played with some people for you play with the same guy for 7 years, 3 nights a week. That guy's as close as your brother.
Absolutely.
That's your family.
Absolutely.
So
you're so right, and it's cultivatable. It's not an accident that I'd say that's the most important thing. If there's someone you admire, often it's the case where there's someone you admire who's you might say is a little bit better than you, or has something you don't.
Right.
I think it is in your best interest to pursue that person and say, hey, what can we do together? Or I wrote a song for us, or
cultivate that relationship.
Cultivate it. and I often think it's, you know, you want to be playing with people who you would want to play with, whether you were doing it professionally or not. It's genuinely a good experience. I think that translates to the audience, or not, depending on if you want an audience or not.
Yeah, some
people out there, and I have to say, I've met more guitar players who work a job, come home, play guitar,
and they're phenomenal.
They're amazing. Or even at the very least, they love it. Just as much as everybody else. So I don't think the guitar has to be. It doesn't become validated once people know about it. And in many cases, I think it's worth noting because, you know, if you're a living room guitar, I think we're all living room guitar players, and some of us happen to have a different.
Play outside of our living room.
Yeah, but it doesn't get much better.
It's like Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
I think he plays harmonica. I think I read a quote and he said, you know, I'd be happy playing in the bar down the street from my house for 5 people.
Yeah.
Just as happy as if I was playing in a stadium.
Yeah, it's true.
Because he loves playing.
He loves playing.
And you know, that's what it's about, is playing. And as long as we all keep doing it, I think there's a little responsibility also that comes along with it, because just like I looked up to certain people, and and you always look up to those people, Jim or whoever.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the young guys now are looking up to you and other people that are so it's important. We got to keep that fire going, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man.
My
I hope you
pleasure.
have a fantastic show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me and
glad you came to Tokyo, and hope to see you next time.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Once again, Michael Kaplan from the American Guitar Academy. Don't forget to check out Julian's albums and shows, and stay tuned for more guitar instructional material.